Good morning and welcome to Cuyahoga County's Community Development Committee meeting. Today is Monday, June 26th, and it is approximately 10 a.m. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Good morning, everyone. It is now 10:04 a.m. And as a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Stevens,
Present.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Kelly,
Here.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No public comment has been submitted.
Since there is no public comment, let us move on to the approval of minutes from the June 5th meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
Moved and seconded. Any conversation? Excuse me, hearing no conversation. If all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Hearing no opposition. The minutes for the meeting of June 5th are approved. Madam Clerk, take us to the business of the day, please.
Resolution 2023-0164, awarding a total sum not to exceed $200,000 to Case Western Reserve University for the Wade Park Community Engagement Center project from the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
There's someone present. Oh, yes, we know this person. You've been here before. Do you remember what you're supposed to do when you get to the microphone, sir?
Press the button.
It's already pressed.
Name, rank, and serial number, please.
Thank you. My name's Julian Rogers. I am the Assistant Vice President for Local Government and Community Relations at Case Western Reserve University. And I am here today to talk with you about an exciting project that we're engaged in, the creation of the Wade Park Community Engagement Center. I'll get right into it. So let me first start by saying that we have a relatively new president, Eric Kaler, who's next month will celebrate his second-year anniversary. And one of his three priorities as president is improving how Case Western Reserve does community relations. And so this Wade Park Community Engagement Center is part of that priority. And we're very excited to be bringing this project to the Glenville community and to the area surrounding our campus. So the Wade Park Community Center is currently a house that has been for, I'd say the last, I think beginning in the 70s, was used as a church. I believe it's Fellowship Bible Church, but it's since been shut for several years. I think in 2014, the church vacated. The building's been vacant ever since. We took ownership, I believe, in 2017. But if you see the star, that's the location of the property in comparison to our campus. Another view of the campus, and the red outline is the property in question there. And this is the current state of the property. And what we're looking to do, we've already demolished, we've abated the asbestos. We've demolished the garage that's behind the house. You can't see in this picture, but the garage was falling in on itself. The street there that you see on the left-hand side of the property is actually a city street, but it's primarily operates as a driveway. So we're looking to vacate that street and consolidate it into the lot. We are removing, you'll see in the renderings, there's a second floor porch there where you can see the windows. We're going to be restoring the house back to its original structure. And so that enclosed porch was added on, we believe, in the 60s. So we will be removing that. Renovate the entire structure. My office, I'm currently in Adelbert Hall on Adelbert Road, but my office and several of my staff will be moving into the second floor of the structure. And we'll be adding new parking lot with handicap accessibility and lighting to the space. Am I doing this right? There we go. So what are we going to do with it? So we're looking to activate a number of programs that we currently do in various places, either around campus or around the city of Cleveland, and actually have a location for those activities to occur. So we recently created a neighborhood advisory council. The neighborhood advisory council is a 20-member council made up primarily of residents that live in the community surrounding our campus. They don't have a permanent home. Right now, we've been having meetings in various locations around the city and in around our campus. So this will be the permanent home for the Neighborhood Advisory Council. We're looking to offer an interview telehealth room where folks that may not have reliable internet can come in and have a telehealth appointment or conduct an interview. We've been doing vaccine clinics since the COVID outbreak, so this is another location where we could do those clinics. Tutoring and mentoring programs, reentry clinics, small business advising. These are all programs that we currently do. They just don't have a permanent home, and so we're excited that we can do these activities in this new space. A little bit of the layout. First floor will be open for the community. Community neighborhood groups will be able to sign up and reserve space at no cost. So you can see there's a multi-purpose room there, other spaces, small meeting rooms, and large conference rooms on the first floor. And then on the second floor, you'll see, I think we have offices for about 6 or 7 people on the second floor. There's the rendering from above. You'll see the space, the house, and then there's the new parking lot behind the house that we'll be constructing. And here's a rendering of what it will look like when it's complete. There you can see the second floor enclosure has been removed. Then there's a side view. And this is hard to see, but the budget that you were given previously with the application has changed. So the total cost we're looking at is about $2.3 million for this renovation. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. We are looking to begin the project in September, and we're looking for a completion date of January of 24 or June of 24.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I would like the record to reflect that Vice Chair Jones is in attendance.
thank you. Mr. Kelly, I believe you waved your hand at me. You have a comment or a question?
I have a question.
I turn the podium over to you, and we'll defer to your questions.
So looking at the resolution, that the cost that you just gave is double, right, the what we were presented?
Yes.
So the ARPA funding that you're requesting, what other sources of income for this project do you have that is solid, that's nailed down?
Yeah, so so far we've been fronting the cost, and our development team has been actively fundraising for the project. We're committed to doing the project, and we're raising as much money as we can, but the university is committed to complete the project regardless of how much money we raise.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
As a follow-up to my colleague's question, so you're receiving 250 from
200,000.
200 from us, sorry. And then you've raised how much? Approximately.
Well, I don't have a firm number on how much has been raised so far from our development office.
Okay.
But I know they have several prospects, and we've been having development meetings. So we anticipate that we should be able to raise a good chunk of this But again, regardless of our ability to raise funds for this, we are ready
The
to
president's committed to
committed
this.
to this project.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Gallagher, any questions? Did that cover everything for you, Mr. Kelly? Is there a vote among the four of us? I move approval. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any conversation or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no oppositions, congratulations. This will go to the full county council. It will have three full readings, and then you will have to enter into an agreement with Cuyahoga County. Good
Excellent.
luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Resolution 2023-0172, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the West Side Community House for the West Side Community House 2023 Strategic Plan for the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Funds.
Good morning. I'm Rachel Milner from Westside Community House. I'm the executive director there. Thank you for your time today, and we are here to discuss the proposal for strategic planning dollars. So I'm just going to give a talk today to just talk about settlement houses, the rich history, and the importance of building that into solid futures. Westside Community House is 132 years old. We were founded on the backbone of the United Methodist Church. The work of the United Deaconess women who went out with the early settlers in Ohio City to work with the settlers, to visit the sick, to help keep the children eventually once people began to get settled and build farms and build lives for themselves. That is where the work was derived from. And that work went on to continue all the way to 30th and Bridge, where we had our first building built in the 1800s. The foundation that the United Deaconess women built still lives today in the work that we do with our families. The first service that we started out with was a daycare, and they also had gender-specific clubs and sewing classes for children and women. That is the representation of who we were. The settlement houses in Cleveland, as you know, have a very rich history, and we desire to continue doing that work in the community today. Trying to figure this out. Okay. Who we are. We moved to 93rd and Lorraine in 2006. We currently have a budget that is just over $1.4 million, and we have a very diverse funding portfolio from the city of Cleveland to foundations, public and private foundations, county dollars, to be able to fund the great work that we do in the community. We have 17 full and part-time staff, and in 2022, we served just over 2,000 people, which is building up from the pandemic numbers that had decreased over that time. We have 3 departments and serve the life spectrum: seniors, youth, and families. In our senior program, we have a congregate meal program where seniors come in to engage in activities, sit with their friends, have lunch, get all of the gossip and the latest information, and just have fun, maintain their quality of life. And you cannot leave out bingo. You have to keep bingo going every single time. We also have home-delivered meals for 150 homebound seniors that don't leave their homes. So we have 2 staff that are out 8 hours a day delivering those meals on the near west side of Cleveland. We also focus on nutrition services and just parties, just any type of things and activities that we can do just to brighten up their day and maintain their quality of life. Within our family services department, we have the community-based services program, which works with families that have open cases with Child Protective Services. We also have a parenting program, domestic violence education and support group, and we have family nights where just the community can come together in the Westside Community House tradition to be able to engage with families, sometimes there's respite and different things for the families to engage in. In our youth services department, we have our sisterhood program, which works with girls 10 to 18, just focusing on helping them become young ladies, summer and school year programs, which include after-school activities. And in the summer, it's a very big arts entertainment camp whereby they work with teaching artists, develop songs, go to the studio and record those songs, and then they do a big performance at the end. We also just implemented a Youth Rise program, which really focuses on boys and girls for the first time in a while, and it's really focused on helping them express their voice. We're going to step into the podcast industry and allow the youth to express themselves through podcasting. That's who we are. Who we will be, and this is the reason why we're here. I started as executive director in 2018, so a year and a half in came the pandemic. When I started, there was hopes of strategic planning and doing all of those different things, but we had to take a pause and a pivot and a detour and all of those things to be able to make it through those years. Now that we're on this side of the table of the pandemic, I am ready to be able to engage in this process. So now you know that with a 132-year-old organization, strategic planning is necessary. Our last strategic plan was completed in 2010. And so the last director on her way out, she gave me some charges and said, these are the directions you need to focus on. And youth services is at the helm of that. And so it's just timely and it's necessary that we do our strategic plan right now. And that's the purpose of the proposal. As I stated, we did our strategic plan in 2010. In 2006, we moved to 93rd and Lorraine. I mention place matters because it matters that we were at 30th and Bridge from the inception up until that time. But with a lot of our families moving further west, it was determined that we were needed to be further west. So now that we are where we are, we have to determine what's next. As I stated, we first started out with daycare services. Well, we ended that daycare in 2010. So here I am now to say, what's the direction? Do we implement daycare services again? Do we implement Head Start? Do we become a Medicaid billable agency with different services? And so a lot of the settlement houses that have been in the city of Cleveland have had to recreate themselves and establish the identity and the needs of the community so that we can continue to meet them just like we did with the early settlers. So that just describes where we are, some options for us, and really the strategic planning process will help us do a community needs assessment to figure out what's existing. We kind of know these things. We consider ourselves to be experts, but we know that we're not above learning more and determining what the community needs so that the services won't be just based on people coming into the building, but us also reaching out to the community to be able to meet the needs and engage in the services. So that I wanted to next talk about the impact. On an individual level, for the staff who have been dedicated, we have staff, I myself have been at the agency for 20 years. We have staff who have been there for 34 years, just continuing in the work because it is a passion. It is the desire of our hearts to be able to service our families in the best way. So for individuals, we will be able to get updates on training needs, and the staff will be able to put input into our strategic planning process. For our program participants, they'll have an opportunity to meaningfully participate in this with stipends. And a lot of times we have them come to the table and share their expertise, but this will give us an opportunity to give them something back for participating and sharing their expertise into this. We will also be able to revitalize our mission. As far as the community, like I said, we're experts, but we're not above the knowledge that we have in that which we can gain. We would be able to further engage the community and implement the right services. We've been there for 17 years, but until we actually do that study and see what's written on paper and how the research and what the data shows us, we can merge what we know with what that is and do what's best in response for the community. We will be able to align with the social determinants of health. For me as a leader, that is very important. We have a lot of informal partnerships and relationships, but I think to be able to have more formal and strategic collaborations will be very good for us as we move forward in the work. We will be able to establish new services and improve existing ones. And lastly, nationally, on the role of settlement houses, we know that if Hull House, the very first settlement house in this country, could close due to whatever reasons they went through, we are all at risk of that. So it's very important for us to be able to do this strategic plan so we can establish a sense of direction, continue to develop our funding portfolio, and provide the necessary services to the community. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Hello.
Madam Clerk, did you have something to share?
Yes, I would like the record to reflect that Ms. Simon is in attendance.
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So looking at the resolution, you estimate the cost of the project is going to be $50,000?
Yes, that's correct.
And so the sole funding is coming from the ARPA funds?
Sole funding is coming from ARPA funds, and anything additionally that we need, it will be coming from in-kind services as well as our donations that we receive from the United Methodist Church, which are unrestricted dollars.
Got it. So, second question is, so estimate the project will take about a year to complete. I'm not exactly sure what the project is. Is this some type of a study that has to be done, or what is the exact project?
Sure, it's a strategic planning process. So we will engage with a consultant to come in and meet with our board initially, and then we will build the teams of staff as well as our program participants to take us through the process.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I have questions to follow along with my colleagues. Have you identified either a consultant or have a series of candidates, since the proposal states that you would start this process in February?
Yes, we do have a candidate identified that we would like to work with.
Okay. And will their fees be the full 50 or a portion of the 50?
A portion of the 50.
And then you will use the balance of the funds to pay for what?
It will pay for stipends for our program participants, as well as a meal when we have our gatherings to do the work for the proposal.
Just a question. Why do you feel the need to give program participants stipends?
It's very important that they be compensated for their knowledge and information. There's a statement that says, "Not about us, without us." And being a settlement house, it is rare that we ever have the opportunity to compensate our program participants for providing information to us. All of the other people at the table are often compensated outside of the board. And so this is something that, in a model that we would like to follow to be able to compensate them. And the compensation could be like a gift card to a store, things like that. It wouldn't be cash necessarily, but we do want to make sure that we show them our appreciation for their time and their expertise and contribution to the work.
Why has it been 13 or 14 years since your last strategic plan? As a recovering planner, I believe that a plan should be done every 3 to 5 years. So it concerns me that you haven't done one in 13.
I definitely agree. And as I stated, when I took over in 2018, that was the initial plan to get started with strategic planning. And the pandemic really did not afford us the opportunity to do so.
Do any of my other colleagues have questions? Ms. Simon?
I do. Thank you so much. My question is, how much is the actual strategic plan itself? You've identified somebody to conduct that plan. What's the cost of that?
So from speaking, I've fully gone through the process with the person that we've identified, and I've spoken with other people that I've received referrals from, but the estimated cost is going to be $25,000 to $30,000.
So if this council were to award that specifically, because what's in front of me talks about a plan, it doesn't talk about these other aspects of what you're envisioning with this money. It talks, maybe I'm misreading this, but it's strategic plan, and the strategic plan itself is 25, and the rest is for food and these other things. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with that part of this, because the way the legislation is written and what's anticipated is the plan.
Yeah, I apologize. I do not have the specific cost. That's just an estimate for me, and that's based on what other people have done with this particular consultant. And actually, the price that other people quoted was higher than what I actually requested for the purpose of this proposal.
What I would ask the chair, I would want to see what that proposal is from the planner that's selected, and then we can have, I would ask that we address it that way, but it's up to the chair. And my colleague, I believe this is a District 7, Conwell, but I think we should get the actual cost of the plan first. That's just my position.
So actually, I agree with you that having at least a written estimate.
Sure.
And details on the additional activities on what is page 31 of our package, it does show that you have identified some things like community engagement with stakeholders and other neighborhood participants, some strategic planning meetings. And I know that with a lot of times with the written document, there are attachments and some research that has to be paid for the data sources. So we need a little information on how your estimated costs for meetings, if you're having off-site meetings or on-site meetings, those kinds of details. Who's collecting this information for us? Is that Mr. McLear? Is that you? Okay. Have you met Trevor McLear on our team? You'll have a week to 10 days to get him additional information so that we can keep this on track.
Okay.
Okay? Questions from any of my colleagues?
Just clarification, oh, go ahead, President.
Mr. Jones, is your microphone on?
Yeah, Jack had to go to a different seat the other day. I can hear that.
So I was going to say, that's better. Our colleague Yvonne Conwell's legislation, this was her application that they did apply for, so there was a process. I understand vetting and seeing those things in detail, and I don't have a problem with that. But it also does say not to exceed. So in that, we have opportunity, obviously, to, if there's any concerns about the level of food or anything like that, we do have opportunities to address it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, what I was going to suggest was that we go ahead and vote to approve this, and we give her a week to 10 days to turn the additional information in. That way she would not be off track, and it would continue the process, and we would honor our colleagues' request to support this.
Or that as well.
Okay?
Chair, I just want this committee to understand that the application itself was strictly for a strategic plan. That was the application. And now we're hearing that there's all these other things involved with this. We can't do that. There has to, I believe, if we're going to be consistent how we address ARPA funds, there's an application. This was the specific ask for a plan. If there's other things that have to go with this, and I'm not saying I oppose that necessarily, there needs to be an amendment to that application, because we can't just apply, have people or communities or cities apply, and then it shifts before we even get it out of the gate.
I'm sorry, what other activities are you?
Well, the food, a strategic plan, I thought, was just from a planner that you would pay a planner to present a plan to
So-
you. But what I'm hearing, that there's activities surrounding that.
Respectfully, I disagree with you. I think in the project description page, where it says request for services, it says the project description, and then it identifies in 6 or 7 bullets the additional things that they'd like to do. There's just no detail
Okay.
on the pricing.
Okay, I mean, I'm fine. I just want to make sure that when there's an application, that it's consistent with what we do. That's all I'm saying. It's from just to purely be consistent and transparent. But if that application is more encompassing than simply a plan, then that's fine. I agree with the chair's approach.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move this to the full council.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this moves to the full council with 3 full readings. Please meet with Mr. Trevor McClear back there. He has a blue shirt on to provide us with some additional information.
Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Resolution 2023-0175, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the St. Clair Superior Development Corporation for the St. Clair Superior Wayfinding Plan and Sign Design Program for the District 7 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Good morning.
The green button.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Taylor. I'm the Executive Director of the St. Clair Superior Development Corporation. And I'm here to present our project. The St. Clair Superior Development Corporation's mission is to build a community where people live, businesses thrive, and visitors explore by connecting people, strengthening the neighborhood, and seeking to always be accountable to the community. St. Clair Superior service area is from East 30th to MLK and from Payne and Superior north to Lake Erie. While we're looking at this slide of our service area, I just want to highlight there's 2 major projects that are surrounding the St. Clair Superior neighborhood that are drawing a lot of activity and attention. That's the Superior Midway, which is a protected bicycle lane that's going to go down Superior Avenue from downtown to East 55th Street, and the Cleveland Metro Parks Cheers program, Cleveland Harbor and Eastern Embayment Resilience Strategy, which is a $400 million investment into revitalizing the East 55th and East 72nd marinas. And part of this project is connecting the community to those 2 strategies and also informing visitors about our wonderful neighborhood. So St. Clair Superior Development Corporation is guided by a strategic plan that focuses on 3 key areas: people, place, and performance. People is really about engaging residents, promoting a safe community, and connecting with our business community. We have over 600 businesses in our footprint. And performance is about sharing our story, building organizational capacity, stabilizing finances, and maintaining stable governance. And our project today focuses on place. Our strategic goals around place are about strengthening the housing stock, leveraging assets and activity nodes, and enhancing the neighborhood and advocating for access. So what is wayfinding? Why is it so important? Really, in the simplest terms, wayfinding can be defined as directional signs and monument signs that let you know when you enter into a neighborhood and where you might go to get to those neighborhood's assets. So it shows that a place is well loved and cared for, which attracts businesses and more investments. It increases a sense of neighborhood pride, improves connections to Lake Erie, and provides support for local businesses through marketing. This funding will cover the cost of the wayfinding signs, neighborhood banners, and neighborhood welcome signs. It is an amazing chunk of funding to get us started, but this particular plan has several, or this particular project has several elements. We are securing funding to pay a consultant. This is outside of the use of these fundings to actually get a plan done. The name of that consultant is Guide Studio. They're really, I think, famous for doing the Midtown wayfinding plan. And that's going to cost $50,000. We've secured $25,000, really $48,500, and we're anticipating that we're going to receive an additional $25,000 for that plan from the Ohio Erie Canal. So this is some photos of what wayfinding is, directional signs pointing to assets. We're really excited about our directional and wayfinding signs really being focused around Lake Erie and the Superior Midway, but the plan's going to identify a load of other opportunities. Our project timeline is estimated to begin July 1st. and an estimated end date of June 1st. The planning phase will take about 6 months. With working with Guide Studio, we'll develop a plan for the design, placement, and implementation of signage. And then the implementation will be in will take about 6 to 12 months. Signs and banners will be produced based on the designs of the Guide Studio plan and installed around St. Clair Superior. So the funding that we're requesting from ARPA is to get us started, and we'll begin to additionally raise funds based on the total amount that Guide Studio plan directs us towards. Questions?
I do.
Ms. Simon?
Thank you. So is this area encompassing the nature preserve and Lake Park? Is that over there?
Yeah, I don't know if I can go back to the map, but that's a really great question. Technically, our service area ends at the lake, but that's one of those hidden gems and assets that I think the Cleveland Metro Parks will probably play a bigger role in their directional signage there. We want to get them down East 72nd or East 55th or MLK. And we're working with a lot of different community partners around beautifying those areas and making them more safe and pedestrian friendly. But the sign is kind of the first piece, like an invitation, like come on down to the lake. And once you get there, oh, there's a nature preserve, there's fishing, there's walking paths, all sorts of activities.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, I tend to hang out there and I brought a friend and he's like, oh, this is called Lake Park. I'm like, no, this is nature preserve. And it was kind of confusing, but there's so much energy in that space. So I really appreciate this project. Thank you.
So I'd like to go over the budget again.
Yes.
We know that we have a $48,000 request for outline for scope of services. But do we know how much the materials for the actual signage will cost?
So I just want to, where are you getting that 48,500?
From the scope of services.
From the scope of
I
services.
didn't say 500, just 48,000.
Oh, 48,000. So the cost of the Guide Studio plan, which is outside of the use of these funds, is going to determine the actual total cost of the project. We're estimating between $200,000 to $300,000 overall.
Now that makes, I'm like, these things cost a lot.
This funding is really like us to be, is great, would be great for us to be able to leverage and say, hey, we've secured $50,000 for like a phase one, like the first monument sign getting done. And then we start to ask foundations and fundraising through our fund development committee of our board and try to generate the remaining.
And that first monument sign, is that what you expect?
I'm using that as an example. We're gonna follow whatever the Guide Studio plan kind of directs us towards. It could be a monument, it could be a directional sign, but that's what the $50,000 would be used for. We hope to have more than $50,000 in our coffers by the time the plan is finished.
Okay. How many people are in your fundraising committee of the board?
Right now, about 4.
Okay, good start. Other questions? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we move this item to the full council.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any conversation? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition. This moves to full council. It will take 3 full readings, and then you will have the ability to negotiate with the county on a final contract.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Resolution 2023-0176, awarding a total sum not to exceed $30,000 to the Building and Leveraging Opportunities Foundation for Project Fresh Start, empowering families through home ownership from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for allowing me to come here today. My name is Orlando Grant. I am the board chairman of the Building and Leveraging Opportunities Foundation. Project Fresh Start is a new innovative idea that we came together with our board of directors to do something unique and creative in relationship to our 60th anniversary of our organization here. What we're doing is actually going to be receiving a home in partnership with the Cuyahoga County Land Bank and refurbishing that home and giving that home, not leasing it, not renting it, but actually giving it to a family that's transitioning out of homelessness at the Crossroads program with the city mission that's located on 55th. Just a couple highlights that I want to start. The Project Fresh initiative was an initiative for about 20 organizations in a variety of capacities that came together to be a part of this initiative to help support this endeavor. Those organizations include, like I said, Councilman Meredith Turner, the Cuyahoga County Land Bank, City Mission, Jax Entertainment, Habitat for Humanity, the T-Mobile Foundation, Burtonville Carr, Iota Phi Theta, the Downing Brothers, and I'll talk a little bit about them, AKA Construction, Rocket Mortgage Fund, Humble Designs, and a variety of other organizations on a smaller level. What is Project Fresh Start? Well, what we did, we came in partnership with the Land Bank and similar modeled a program that is currently taking place in the city of Chicago, where you would actually get a home that needs to be refurbished, and not just to get that home, but to actually give that home to someone. We identified a variety of ways of, trying to support a family that is in transition. But in our conversation, we found out that there are a lot of individuals, families that are struggling with homelessness currently in Cuyahoga County. So after further dialogue, we in conversations with the Cuyahoga County Land Bank and their team, we came together to identify this property in the District 9 as well as Cleveland City Council Ward 4 area in the Mount Pleasant area that is currently sitting in Land Bank, and they actually donated the property to us to be able to refurbish the home. Additional dialogue with a variety of different partners, including AKA Construction. We said that this is a property that's feasible to do the redevelopment and then be able to facilitate it going over to this particular family. So after we did that, we said, well, how do we identify the family to actually be the recipient of this? As you know, or you may not know, the Crossroads program is a program at the City Mission where individual families go to Crossroads to transition from homelessness. This particular family that was recommended to us is a single mother with 3 sons, a 15, a 16-year-old, and a 6-year-old. She is currently going to school, not an LPN, but the other STNA school, yes. So she's about to graduate from that particular program while she's in the Crossroads program. At the conclusion of her graduation, which will be at the end of this summer, they help support her in that endeavor in terms of going from homelessness to actually home ownership. Once the mother was identified, we're going to get some addition. Now that we have the family identified, we're going to be working with Crossroads to help prepare them for this particular project. Now, this is a speedy turnaround because the actual kickoff for the project is kicking off on July 1, which is currently Saturday, where we have our groundbreaking, and that associate partner is going to be a part of that. But we're going to be using additional partners, including the Murders Taylor Family to Family Initiative. That is a program that you guys support here to support this family in their post home ownership. The unique thing about the City Mission's Crossroad program is that once they are completed with their in the home, the City Mission would then take ownership, or they would take the deed of the home, and over the next 12 to 18 months, hold the deed where the individual will be working and then paying a rent or paying back into it $200 a month. They'll be responsible for the utilities of the home. And then while they're responsible, they're going through financial literacy. They're going through home ownership training and development. They're going through efforts to help them prepare to get back into the home. Once they complete that program in partnership with us, they would then be deeded over the home at no cost. We wanted to make sure that we didn't just give them a home and then debt free, and then they go out and they may go get a second mortgage again, and they're right back in that situation. So at that, the Crossroad program is actually helping support them in that endeavor to make sure that they're actually getting the home and then they're prepared to stay in the home. In terms of financial, we have raised about $105,000 in support for this program. The total program project is about 150 to 175,000. It is a moving number for this particular reason. Once they are in the home, we are partnering with organizations like Humble Design, M&T Bank, to not only be able to give them the money to get the furniture. Humble Designs is a program based in Cuyahoga County where they would actually furnish the home at no cost to the family. M&T Bank is going to actually provide all of the appliances for that home as well. So those numbers are going to vary as we get prepared for that. But the actual redevelopment in a project of this home is about $150,000, and we're working with AKA Construction. The great thing about that, and with all our various partners, we are actually working to get donations of in-kind services. For example, Fiza Roofing is a company here in Cuyahoga County. They're going to give the home a free roof at no cost to the project, as well as no cost to the family at all. So that's a $15,000 reduction in the overall cost. We are still trying to secure additional funding as far as match dollars, as well as in-kind services. That's going to provide additional support to make sure that we make this project doable, feasible, as well as sustainable. Some additional, as my PowerPoint presentation outlines, we have some additional resources through Jax Entertainment. Habitat for Humanity is going to be involved. They're going to provide matching dollars through their programs to help, once again, reduce the cost of the overall cost of the budget. Those things are still pending and ready to going through the process. Now, one last unique thing at the next page, you guys may or may not know, heard of this show called Backyard Wars on HGTV. Well, this is a show where individuals come and they actually film the show of a home getting redeveloped. And these are the Downing brothers, who are actually brothers of mine in my organization, and they're actually going to come to Cleveland and film the whole project getting redeveloped and potentially showcased and shown on HGTV this coming fall. So that brings a unique level of visibility, that brings a level of creativity, and it brings a level of support that we can probably emulate, do it as a best practice, and move forward, and we can continue to do this in various other neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland. So as well as that, we're looking to have the documentary shown at potential local film festivals as a part of what we're doing here in Cuyahoga County, as a way to continue to promote how these programs, collaborations, and being a part of a collective effort to help grow and manage our homeless population, especially homelessness with families, to help support them reach their ultimate goals. As you can see, our kickoff and our groundbreaking and our actual first day of filming will be this Saturday at the home located in the Mount Pleasant area, specifically 3206 East 137th Street. And as I identified, these are a lot of the partners, as we identified in this presentation, that are a part of this through in-kind services, through actual cash allocations from the various organizations, as well as supportive services that will take place post the home being completed. So that is it. I try to stick within my time frame. If you guys have any questions, I wanted to make sure I didn't go oversee my time. Thank you very much for your time.
Just a couple of questions.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Kelly?
Actually, I just have a comment, Madam Chair. I like this project. You got your ducks in a row. And I also like the fact that the individual that's going to be getting the house has to make some investment in it during that time period. So all I can say is good job on this.
Thank you very much. I think that was really important to us, that just for an example, if you're giving something for free, you don't appreciate it as much as if you have to have some work equity. And as part of that, the Habitat for Humanity, they're going to be going through some of their classes about home ownership, as well as banking, being bankable, making sure all those things that are tangible, necessary skills to be a benefit to themselves, to her family, as well as to that inner community. That particular street is I'm kind of nervous here, but it's a street where is a historic district street. So we want to make sure that they maintain that street, and as well as part of that, her kids will be able to go attend Shaker schools as well. So we're looking at ways to really make this project sustainable and beneficial to her for the long haul.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
You did give us your total project cost?
So the total project cost in terms of the actual cost is $150,000. Those are some dollars that are and identified in that one slide here. We
Right, I got to 165 by the time I added in the in-kind services.
Yeah. So I wasn't accounting the some of the in-kind services and some of the things of that nature as
Okay.
well. But cash, we're estimating at 150,000.
Okay. Who will serve as the general contractor to make sure that parts and pieces don't fall through the cracks?
Yes, so Arian Kirkpatrick of AKA Constructing is our general contractor, and she's been a vested, incredible partner. She's helped leverage several of our in-kind donations as well.
Okay. I just want to make sure there was a person making sure that it all came together
Yes,
in the
that
end.
is not my area of expertise. I'm the rah-rah guy, but I make sure that I put the people in place that are experts in that area.
No, Arian has a great reputation. She can handle this.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I like the project as well, but I'm going to throw a wrench in it
Sure.
right now. So there's an opportunity here to have a solar roof. So we talk about sustainable, and why not see, I know this is, what I would ask if anybody's considered that, Fiesel Roof will do a normal roof, but now is the time to maybe put a solar panel on there.
Right, so go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Well, have you looked at that? And if you haven't, there's time to look through our Department of Sustainability, which I would ask, but I'll let you answer first.
So no, we did not. That's a great question. I did not think of that, and you just opened my eyes to another opportunity. So I can definitely do the due diligence, and I would love to, tap into your knowledge or maybe support staff to see how we can definitely learn more about that. But that is something.
Because right now, we're on the groundbreaking stage, and there's no reason at this point other than finances. But I'd like to see what this would cost to add, what it cost it would add, and how, what it ends up doing is saving the homeowner, the occupant, money within probably a year or two. They're not going to have the expense of that electricity bill, which we know that's astronomical, what we're looking at now with increase. So this is a way to save money for this homeowner later.
And that's a great point. We're always looking at ways of not creating an additional burden to the homeowner. That's why we are trying to provide those wraparound services. So that's a more of a physical, tangible thing that we can do. That's part of the development. So we can definitely have those dialogues, and I'll look forward to speaking with
We
whoever.
can talk after.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Well, first, Orlando, it's good to see you.
Good
All
to
right,
see you as well.
We've known each other over the years. It's a good 20 years at least.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so you're still doing, fighting a good fight, doing good work. So again, like everyone else, I love this project. Councilwoman Simon is correct. If there's any way solar panels could be incorporated in, it would be a great advantage to the homeowner. And just again, just proving the technology that is available and just trying to make it viable in the community. With this, I kept thinking of those REITs, REITs, real estate investment trusts, where people come together and not everyone puts cash in, but they put a certain investment amount, whether it's their skill set, whatever it might be, to create the ownership. So that's kind of what I was seeing here as you have the homeowner invest as well.
Exactly.
In the ownership of this project. I was thinking along the lines of again, just how reproducible it is.
Okay.
Can this be done over and over again, and for dollar amounts? What is the size of the actual house? How big is it?
In terms of square footage?
And maybe square footage.
I don't know
Trying
the
to get a
exact
sense.
number, but the great thing about it, because of each of the, the AKA team, they're actually going to convert, there's like smaller rooms, so we're going to make it more of an open space. There's enough to make 4 bedrooms for each child to have their own bedroom. They're going to convert I ain't gonna say attic, but the 3rd floor into a livable space for the mother, because she's never had that for her space. So it's enough for that, as well as a great room, I guess that's the terminology for that, through expanding of it. So, and then also a finished basement as well. So I couldn't tell you the exact square footage, but at the end of the project, it'll be 4 bedrooms, a great room with open kitchen plan, as well as closet space and the appropriate needs, as well as a separate garage that's going to get redeveloped as well. So
Yeah, and it's right on the edge or outside of the edge of my own district. Yvonne and I share Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Certain parts of it, so you are in her side of district and not mine. So I'm kind of saying that because I'm jealous.
Well, if you are willing to support us in the future, we would love to come and do one in your area as well after we get this one completed.
Most definitely, I'll share with you. I've been working with a few ministers, trying to get the churches in the community to do the same thing, look around and start renovating vacant properties just around them. And that's coming along. And if we can get enough of them to be significant real estate investors, I feel we could do something transformational.
Exactly.
So when I see this and all the partners, there's
Exactly.
a lot of opportunity.
And the one great, and I can close on this, the one great thing that I've learned in this process and I've been on council president Jones for a while, since my weed and seed days from, back in 2005. There are so many programs that are untapped resources here in Cleveland. And as I was going through this process, I learned that even the City Mission Crossroad program, never knew it existed. And be able to learn that, because we was figuring out how are we going to select this family, how are we going to determine who this family is. That program is right smack dab in the middle of our neighborhoods, and they truly support transitional families going from homelessness to home ownership without any major costs of down payment assistance and things of that nature, but they really support that. So I would implore, as we continue to grow this opportunity, that as we continue to grow this opportunity and be able to grow partnerships, we look at how do we expand on current partnerships and not try to do it alone. And I learned that this process, doing it alone, would only get you but so far, but going together, we'll be able to get this thing over the finish line. And we've been able to really get this thing over the finish line. And the great thing about it, I have not had one person tell me no yet, because they see the value of partnership, they see the value of what we're trying to do in the long-term sustainability of this particular family and how we're going to move forward in expanding this. And just by speaking with you today, saying, hey, I would like to do this in my neighborhood. Yes, we can definitely do it in your neighborhood. And as we continue to expand our opportunities for partnership, we would love the opportunity to really see how we can grow it through partnerships, not trying to be a one-man show. So thank you.
Are you familiar with Reverend Richard Gibson?
No, I'm not, but I'm sure, yeah.
He's the pastor of Elizabeth Baptist Church. Okay. Elizabeth Baptist Church was the church that Arsenio Hall's father was pastor of.
Oh, wow.
30, 40, 50 years ago. But,
okay.
But he has done the same thing. He's gotten that technical support from the land bank. He has been doing this for a good 15 years. So he has built a campus in Slavic Village around his church where he is delivering social services, homeless services out of the buildings that he has developed through the land bank. He's now buying houses to transition his homeless as well. So he is building wealth for the church in terms of fixing up the neighborhood, beautifying the neighborhood, but delivering service to the community as well. So he's been doing it for 15 years, and the work that you're doing, he's doing, and others like it is what we need in the community.
Exactly. Service is the rent we pay for the space that we occupy on this earth. So that's something that I live by.
Right. So other than that was not a question, but again,
Is there a vote on the table?
I'll make a motion that we move this to the full council. Again, 3 readings are required.
Yes, 3 readings are
readings.
required.
Second.
Okay, conversation? Yes. Ms. Turner, this would be the moment where you make a comment before we go to the vote.
Thank you so much, and I'm headed back over to Board and Control. So, Madam Chair, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to come over and say thank you to Mr. Grant for trusting Cuyahoga County as a partner, trusting myself as a council, a government. We can make good partners.
Yes, we can.
But I want to thank you for your vision on this project, to know that government can't do it alone. We need our private citizens and our nonprofit organizations like yourself to step up, and you chose to address an issue around homelessness. I know there was a major report that came out in the last year or sometime this year about the state of homelessness in Cuyahoga County, and you all decided that you want to make an impact. So I just want to come over and say thank you this morning for your courage to address this issue, which is, we, as Council President was saying, is vast, and we need to expand this across the county. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
There are no other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, congratulations. This moves forward with 3 full readings at council, and then you'll be able to talk to our staff about the process for obtaining the funds.
Great, and just as a FYI, I would love to invite you guys. We're having our ribbon cutting and our first taping for the show on Saturday. I could definitely get the information to Councilman Turner. She can give that to you guys if you would like to be a part
To
of
make
it.
it easier on Councilman Turner, if I may, if you would get it to the clerk, then she
I
can make
sure
sure we
will.
all get it.
And Director Foley, Mike Foley's here from Sustainability to give you his card, so you
Yes.
can start talking about a roof, solar.
Great, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Okay, we are to miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous business? Hope we all are healthy and happy for the 4th of July coming up. It is one of the best holidays ever. Sunshine in the middle of the summer, a slight break from our work, and the ability to remember that this is one of the best countries in the world. With no further comments from my colleagues, we are adjourned.